Hello everybody, my name is Alex and in today's video I'm going to talk about the simple past. Even though it is called the simple past, it is not as simple as it is because it requires a bit of knowledge to finally know how to conjugate this tense. There are different functions for the simple past. The first function of the simple past is the basic one. Basically, it's when we talk about a specific situation that happens in the past. For example, my sister cleaned her room yesterday, or my mom cooked pique macho last week. There is a second function as well in which we talk about a situation that had a specific duration in the past, or in another words, a situation, an action that was an habit, but it's not anymore. For example, I exercised a lot when I was younger. Or another one, my father worked at the mines for 14 years. We also talk about the simple past when there is a past fact or a generalization. In other words, this is like actions that happened in the past, specific truths, but since they belong to the past, it is no longer truth, or it is not happening at this time of the moment right now. For example, people arrived to America through the Bering Strait. This is something that happened in the past but cannot happen right now, because if someone wants to travel, they used airplanes or any transportation. They do not walk through the Bering Strait anymore. And the final function for the simple past is when we talk about a sequence of time, such as in the simple present, but this time in the past, a sequence of events. For example, yesterday I woke up at 7 a.m. I made breakfast, I cleaned my room, and I went to the university. When we talk about the structure of the simple past with the regular verbs, I'm going to talk about the irregular verbs in a moment. To form the simple past, you just have to have the base form and then add the termination ed to form the simple past. For example, on with listen, we add the ed and it's listened. Now, there are other ways, well, not exactly other ways, but in simple words they follow the same structure as the other tenses. When we talk about a verb that ends in a D, we just add the letter D. For example, to live, we just a verb that ends in a E, we just add the letter D to be believed. And when there is a sequence followed by consonant, vowel, consonant. We double the last consonant. This in not specifically monosyllabic verbs because most of them are irregular. But to know this is that these verbs have to have a bigger intonation in the last syllable. For example, commit, it has a bigger intonation in the last syllable. We double the letter T, which is the last letter, and then we add the termination ed. And as well with some regular verbs that ends in the letter Y, we change it for an I and then following by that add ed. For example, with cry, we change the letter Y for an I and we have cried. The simple part of this is that the subjects follow the same structure. When we talk about the singular verbs or the plural verbs, the simple past does not change. It is the same for every single object, which is a bit easy, I must say. Now we got the pronunciation of the regular verbs. Now this is very important because not all verbs sound the same. It has a different variations. For example, there is the termination D, which is a sound for the verbs that end in a vowel sound. Some of the times, not all the times, as I'm going to talk about. For example, love in the past is loved. You see, there's a termination with the letter D. With live, we have lived. Enjoy, enjoyed. There is a D termination. The other one we have the termination ed, which is the verbs for the verbs that end in the sound of a T or a D. For example, we have need, it is needed. You pronounce that letter at the end, the letter E at the end. With want, wanted. With visit, visited. You get it? And then finally we have the termination in T when you sound the letter T at the end for the verbs that end in any other consonant word. For example, kiss, we have kissed. You see there is a bit of a bigger sound at the end with the letter T. Walk, walked. Smell, smelled. Finally, to end this video, I'm going to talk a bit about the irregular verbs. As the name said, they are irregular, they do not follow any rule in any case. And it seems like there are more irregular verbs than regular verbs out there. For example, we have the verb put, which in the past form it is put. Nothing changed. We don't add ed at the end. It sounds exactly the same. But then there's the verb read, but in the past form is read. It is pronounced that way as it is written the same way as well. We have other verbs just like to ring, that in the past form is rang. The same with sit, in the past form is sat. Other verbs that you know, the verbs to leave, it is left. lose became lost, fall became fail, think became thought, and we can go and we can still going. There is a lot of irregular verbs, but the only way is to memorize those. There is not a specific rule, a specific group from for those verbs that you can find anywhere. Maybe there are some ways to make those verbs into different groups to be as more digestible as possible, the learning of those, but that is the only way I have to say that you have to learn those verbs. It is to memorize. And with that finally said, goodbye.